Greetings, fans, friends, and family. Your crafty diva cat here with another quick Christmas gift idea. This time it is Splendid Splenda brownies. Now, gifts in a jar are very popular this time of year because everybody is overdone with all the baked goods, and they need something that they're going to be able to make in a month or two. Well, for those of people in your life who are either diabetic or on a diet, trying to lose weight, trying to eat a little healthier, standard gifts in a jar don't always work out so well. So this is my version of Splendid Splenda brownies in a jar. And they're quite easy to make, and they make a beautiful presentation for a gift in a jar. So what you're going to do for your first layer, and this is just a jar that I picked up at the dollar store. You can see you need a 1 quart jar for this approximately. So this is a 1.5 liter jar, which is a little bigger than I need. 1.3 liters is equal to a quart. And so I'm going to be topping this off with a little bit of extra goodness at the end, which you can leave off or put in depending on how big your jar is. So your bottom layer is going to be whole wheat flour. And we're going to put in 3/4 of a cup. Our bottom here. And if you're not making this for someone that you're really close to, you might want to use a knife to level things off instead of a clean hand. But nice clean hands work too. So you want to shift your jar around a bit and try and get it nice and level down on the bottom. And then on top of that layer, we're going to add our Splenda. And we need 2 1/4 cups of Splenda, so this takes quite a bit of Splenda. Now, of course, if you're adding sugar, you'll want to go with 2 cups instead of 2 1/4, and you'll want to increase your baking time just a little bit. When you're cooking with Splenda, you have to experiment because things tend to cook a little bit quicker, especially baked goods. 2 1/4. And again, you're just going to shift around your jar a little bit, not too hard because we've already got a bottom layer in there, to get your Splenda nice and even. And next we're going to add our cocoa. And so you just want standard baking cocoa, the unsweetened kind, and you're going to add 2/3 of a cup. Now be very careful when you're adding the cocoa because it can tend to get all along the sides of your jar. So the best way to do this is to actually lower, instead of dumping, your measuring cup in and very gently sprinkle it on the top so that you don't make a big mess. Keep paper towels handy if it does get around the sides of your jar and you need to clean up. It's not very difficult to do. And then instead of shaking, again, because the cocoa can sort of mess up your jar quite a bit, just use your measuring cup to get it nice and evened out. And then on top of that, I have 1/2 cup of white flour that has already had 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder stirred in. It's important that you mix it into your flour pretty well before you add it. So then that's just going to go right on top. And again, because we've got the cocoa powder coming up here, we're just going to spread it nice and gently so it makes a nice pretty layer. Now that's the basic ingredients for the brownies. Anything else that you add to the top of this is just gravy. So you can add different kinds of nuts in layers. You can add semi-sweet chocolate chips. Don't add milk chocolate because they have a higher amount of sugar in them. So I'm going to add a layer of chopped walnuts and spread those out nice. And then if you still have room at the top of your jar, what you can do is you can take tissue paper or anything that is going to be able to be stuffed down. I'm going to add a little layer of chocolate chips on top, just a few. So then you can fill the top with little balls of tissue paper. Use Christmas themed for pretty colors or anything like that that you want to fill up that extra space. Or you can add additional mix-ins for that last little bit, such as dried fruit. Dried cranberries are a great one this time of year, dried cherries, whatever your recipient likes. But keep in mind again, dried fruit has a really high sugar content, so that wouldn't be appropriate for mixes for diabetics. You'd want to stick with more nuts or sugar-free type add-ins, like flax seeds, which are really great, or sesame seeds, or anything that your recipient likes to fancy up their brownies a little bit more. Then the thing is, you need to make a really beautiful tag to go on top of this, because brownies are not so much of a gift as showing that you did it yourself. So I have my own little tag here for the Splendid Splenda brownies, and this includes the rest of the directions so they can actually turn these into brownies, which reads: empty mix into a large bowl, add 3/4 of a cup melted butter or margarine and 4 beaten eggs, mix, pour into greased 9x13 pan, and bake at 350 for 30 minutes. And there you have it. That is Splendid Splenda brownies in a jar mix as a quick Christmas gift. For other quick Christmas gift crafts, check out the other videos in this series. And for other tips, tricks, lessons on these kinds of crafts and other items, check out Crafty Diva Cat on Facebook and Twitter. As always, thank you for watching and happy crafting.